Every year, millions of Americans pack up their entire lives, load a U-Haul that costs more than their first car, and drive away from the state they once called home. No tearful goodbye, no looking back in the rearview mirror, just pure, unfiltered relief. And the numbers don't lie. Nearly 15 million Americans moved in 2025 alone, and this exodus is only accelerating. People aren't just moving for better weather or a change of scenery, they're running from taxes that make grown men cry, from crime rates that make your insurance agent sweat, from housing markets so broken that a literal parking garage in San Francisco sells for $500,000. So today we are counting down 10 states that people are absolutely, desperately, and enthusiastically leaving behind. Grab your moving boxes. Let's go. Number 10, New Jersey, New Jersey, the Garden State, which is ironic because the only thing growing here are property tax bills and your existential dread. New Jersey has recorded tens of thousands more outbound than inbound moves year after year, with 70.5% of all moves being people leaving the state. Let that sink in. For every 10 people making a moving decision in New Jersey, 7 of them are waving goodbye. And honestly, can you blame them? New Jersey holds the title of highest property taxes in the entire country year after year, like a cursed trophy nobody wanted to win. The average homeowner pays over $9,000 a year just in property taxes. That is not a mortgage. That is just the tax on the thing you already bought. Add the state income tax, the cost of living that rivals Manhattan without the Manhattan skyline, and traffic on the Garden State Parkway that makes you question your entire life, and suddenly Tennessee looks like paradise. Around a third of people leaving cite retirement as their main reason. Makes sense. You spend 40 years working in New Jersey and realize that if you stay, retirement will be optional because you will never be able to afford to stop working. Number 9, West Virginia. West Virginia does not get talked about much in these conversations, and that is probably because most people forgot it exists until they look at a map. West Virginia has struggled with economic stagnation, high poverty rates, and limited job growth for decades. The industries that once defined this state, coal and manufacturing, have been collapsing in slow motion for years, and the people who built their lives around those industries are now watching their options shrink faster than the population itself. Many residents are leaving for nearby states with greater economic opportunity like Ohio, Virginia, and North Carolina. Young people especially are moving out fast. West Virginia consistently ranks as one of the oldest states by median age, which tells you everything you need to know. When the young people leave and nobody replaces them, the whole economic engine starts to sputter. West Virginia has genuine natural beauty. Incredible mountains, stunning rivers, some of the best whitewater rafting in the country. But beauty does not pay rent. And when the jobs are gone and the economy offers nothing new, even the most loyal residents eventually follow the highway out. Number 8, Michigan. Michigan was once the beating heart of American industry. Detroit built the cars that built the country. The auto industry turned the state into a powerhouse, and for decades it was the land of good wages and the American dream. Then the factories left, and unfortunately so did the people. Detroit is one of the most dramatic urban collapse stories in modern American history. Once a city of nearly 2 million people, it now holds fewer than 700,000. Entire neighborhoods sit abandoned, houses with caved-in roofs, streets with more weeds than cars, a ghost town where a booming city used to be. Michigan's broader population has been trickling outward for decades. Young people especially are leaving in search of job opportunities the state simply cannot provide at the scale it once did. The winters don't help, neither does the crumbling infrastructure that makes driving feel like an off-road adventure you did not sign up for. There is a particular kind of sadness to Michigan. It is not a state people hate, it is a state people mourn. They leave because they have to, not necessarily because they want to. And that, in many ways, is worse. Number 7, Louisiana. Louisiana is a state of incredible culture, incredible food, and absolutely incredible levels of dysfunction. According to the latest livability rankings, Louisiana sits at 49th out of 50 states, with 19% of the population living in poverty, compared to 11% nationwide. In 2024, the governor had to declare a state of emergency due to a police officer shortage. A state of emergency. Because there were not enough cops. 3/4 of Louisiana school districts are chronically underfunded. The healthcare system is one of the worst in the country. And if you are hoping to build any kind of financial future here, the economic opportunity metrics will hit you like a Mardi Gras float. hard, and leaving you confused on the ground. The culture is genuinely world class. The music, the food, the history, all of it is magnificent. But you can only eat so many beignets before you realize your kids need a properly funded school and a functioning fire department. Number 6, Illinois. Illinois is proof that you can have one of the greatest cities on earth and still have everyone trying to escape your state. Chicago is iconic, truly. The architecture, the food, the culture. It is a world-class city by any measure. And yet Illinois has experienced a decade-long population decline, with net losses to other states exceeding 50,000 residents per year. People are leaving for Indiana, Florida, and Texas. Because even with everything Chicago offers, people are still leaving. The state pension crisis is one of the most severe in the country. Illinois owes hundreds of billions in unfunded pension obligations, which means higher taxes, reduced services, and a state government that has essentially been running on borrowed time for decades. Crime in Chicago has been a persistent headline for years. High property taxes, a state government with a corruption track record that could fill several true crime documentaries, and winters so brutal they make Connecticut look mild. Illinois keeps people just long enough to make them cynical, then sends them to Texas or Florida, with an attitude and a very strong opinion about deep dish pizza. Number 5. Massachusetts. Massachusetts lost over 33,000 more residents to other states than it gained in just a 12-month period ending mid-2025. And that number is climbing back up after briefly showing signs of improvement. The Boston housing market has become almost comically unaffordable. Taxes are so high that the Tax Foundation recently ranked Massachusetts 43rd in tax competitiveness. And there are what economists call the 3 T's killing this state: taxes, temperature, and traffic. Some analysts now add a 4th T to that list: the targeting of blue states for federal spending cuts, which threatens to make an already difficult fiscal situation significantly worse. The cruel irony is that Massachusetts is genuinely one of the most educated and innovative states in the country. World-class universities, incredible healthcare institutions, groundbreaking tech and biotech sectors. But none of that matters if the average family cannot afford a house within 30 miles of where they work. Younger residents especially are heading south to cities like Raleigh and Charlotte, where their salary stretches further and they can actually afford a backyard. Number 4, Connecticut. Connecticut is what happens when a state makes every correct decision for wealthy people and every wrong decision for everyone else. 60% of all moves in Connecticut are people leaving. Movers consistently cite winter weather, high taxes, expensive housing, and high property taxes as their top reasons for going. And Connecticut is one of the few states in the country that taxes Social Security and other retirement income. Read that last part again. Connecticut taxes your Social Security. The money you paid into the system your entire working life, Connecticut wants a piece of it when you are finally collecting. This is why retirees are basically speedrunning their exit the moment they get their gold watch. Connecticut has one of the oldest and most expensive housing markets in the Northeast. The cold winters are legendary in the worst possible way, and the taxes are so layered and comprehensive that they feel almost artistic in their scope. Income tax, property tax, estate tax, gas tax, retirement tax. Connecticut is running a masterclass in creative revenue extraction, and the students are leaving campus. Number 3, New York. New York leads the nation in total volume of people leaving, with over 446,000 net residents lost to other states between 2020 and 2024. In 2025 alone, the state lost 121,000 more residents than it gained. That is not a statistical blip. It is a sustained, years-long vote of no confidence by hundreds of thousands of real people. And now, in early 2026, a Bank of America report confirmed that Americans are still leaving New York City at alarming rates, with nearly 1 in 4 people moving to Philadelphia of all places just to get out of the New York cost bubble, while staying close enough to commute. New York City is one of the greatest human achievements in history. The energy, the culture, the opportunity, nothing on earth quite compares to it. And yet people are leaving because the math does not work anymore. A shrinking population could cost the state over $300 million a year in lost tax revenue. And the city seems to be responding to that fiscal pressure by making things more expensive, which is exactly the wrong direction. New York will always be New York. But for more and more people, being New York is no longer enough to justify the bill. Number 2, New York's West Coast twin. California lost 239,000 residents to other states in 2025. Since 2020, nearly 1.7 million people have left. That is not a city emptying out. That is an entire Phoenix, Arizona just gone. California carries the nation's highest state income tax rate at 12.3%. The median home price sits at over $809,000. That is the state median, not Beverly Hills, the average. And while the rate of departure has slowed slightly compared to the pandemic peak years, California has now ranked last on the U-Haul Growth Index for 6 consecutive years. 6 years, 6 consecutive years as the state people are most aggressively leaving. That is not a trend, that is a statement. The California to Texas corridor is the single largest interstate migration route in the entire country, with over 100,000 people making that one-way drive in a single year. They are leaving for lower taxes, lower housing costs, and the radical luxury of being able to afford a home that has more than one bathroom. California is still magnificent in many ways, the technology, the innovation, the natural beauty, but magnificence does not pay a mortgage. And for millions of middle-class Californians, that math stopped working a long time ago. Number 1, and the winner is... everyone who already left here is the plot twist nobody saw coming. In January 2026, the US Census Bureau released data showing that for the first time since 1935, the United States recorded negative net international migration in 2025. More Americans left the country than foreigners came in. The last time this happened was during the Great Depression. People are not just leaving states anymore, they are leaving America. Mid-career professionals, families with children, retirees. They are packing up and moving to Europe, Southeast Asia, Latin America in search of lower cost of living, better healthcare access, and a quality of life that their American salaries, as strong as they are globally, can no longer buy them at home. The Great Reshuffle was supposed to be about moving from California to Texas, from New York to Florida. Turns out it was a warm-up act. The real exodus is just getting started. So the next time someone loads a U-Haul and drives away without looking back, ask yourself, are they just changing states, or are they done with the whole experiment? That is a story we will have to keep watching.